All right. Hello, everyone. It is time for some late night cozy runs with our runner here, Ozmourn. I am Karanam Core. You can call me Ruby. I'll be the host for these next two runs. And it looks like we're ready to go ahead and get started with Lightmatter. So, Ozmourn, take it away.
All right, hello everybody. You caught me in the middle of a run. Look at that. Spoilers for the future. And so my name is Osborne, and this is a light matter. Any percent no major glitches. I absolutely love this game. It's the first speedrun that I say that like I really took seriously, and it's a speedrun that I constantly come back to, and it's part of the reason why I fell in love with speedrunning. And so it's like a first-person puzzle platformer kind of game. Very Portal-esque. It's actually very Portal inspired. There's a few references here to Portal that you're going to be seeing in the game. And I'll explain like the main gist and mechanics of it once we get into the run. But before we begin, gotta go to extras, gonna turn on speedrun stats. That is required in case you PB. And we're actually gonna be turning on developer commentary later in the run. Keep that in mind because this is really important. Timing is gonna begin when I enter the first level right here. And so in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So light matter. This is a game that has a very interesting mechanic, and that is the shadows will kill you. For the most part, in this game, you cannot touch the shadows. You have to be completely in light. In the game. It's described as like the floor is lava, but with shadows that eat organic material. It is a very unique kind of mechanic, and there are certain exceptions to that. There are specific shadows that you can step in, both intended and not intended, and I will point those out when they happen. But for the most part, in this first two levels, you actually cannot die. Even if you manage to step in shadows, there is zero kill plane programmed into them, and so you cannot die in these first two levels, no matter how much you try. But there are small speed strats you're going to be seeing me do, such as jumping upstairs, because your speed generally decreases when you walk upstairs, or grinding down the handrails of stairs in order to go faster. And those are just small things that I'm going to be doing a lot throughout the run. But we wake up in this facility not knowing who we are or what we're doing here. And this first level is just introducing us to basic mechanics, such as movement, jumping, and pressing buttons. And now we are at level 2 in this next area, in which we're introduced to our primary antagonist, Virgil. Virgil is our villain and also the disembodied voice that is very GLaDOS-esque kind of character. He is the corrupt CEO of Lightmatter, who has unfortunately harmed many hundreds of people. But he's going to convince us through a long series of monologues that what he is doing is for the greater good. He truly believes in Lightmatter technologies. He might be a villain, but he is a villain who is incredibly smart. It's also voiced by David Bateson, who I had the lovely opportunity of interviewing myself during a speedrun of this. And if not for the speedrun or the gameplay, I highly recommend, just for the story and for the voice acting, going and downloading this game. It's $20 on Steam, and with a demo, it's really, really good. In this next section, as you can see here, there's a shadow up there on that locker that I definitely 100% stepped in and should have killed me by the game's rules. But again, you can't die in this first level, in these first two levels, so you should be able to just go up there, no matter how many times, and just not die.
Now I presume you know how buttons work.
Cutting some corners, make sure your turns are tight, all that jazz. We are going to get over here to the end of level 2. This is part of what we call the core. This is a game that part of the game that we're going to be coming back to a lot throughout the run. And right here, we're just going to be grinding on this handrail and going into the elevator, and that's it. That's the whole run. There is nothing else. Forget the fact that there's a 15-minute estimate. Don't notice the fact that there's a death count. We're finishing the run right here because we're just gonna go up to safety, and like that's it. That's the whole game. Like there's nothing bad that could possibly happen in the next 10 seconds of the game. GG's. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ozmourn. This is any percent no major glitches. There's not even any time to show off any glitches, so like of course. Except the elevator stops and then begins to crash, because why wouldn't it? Plot has to plot, game has to game. We have a run to run, and so something horrible has to happen to us. that is the end of level 2, and now we're going to go straight to level 3. Title card, Lightmatter. So, as is the nature of Glitch Lizard, any percent no major glitches run, for the most part, we're going to be kind of doing endedly, but not really. There are specific sections in this we have really interesting skips that we're going to be taking advantage of, and I will point those out when they happen. But from here on out, for the most part, the shadows will in fact kill you. Like, even if you step in a shadow from now on, you will die. And so because this is the level that introduces that mechanic, we're technically like meant to die here, and like accidentally walk out of the light. Oh, and like that's how I die. I mistimed that jump, unfortunately. A bit too soon on the jump. I'm gonna wait until I don't trust this. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. 3, 2, 1. There we go. It's supposed to flicker. I don't know why it's not flickering. Okay, that's strange. But that's beside the point. That usually flickers. I don't know why I didn't. But hopefully the rest of the run should go smoothly. Right here in level 4, we're gonna see our first skip, in which I'm going to be moving this top bridge to the right, to the left, and to the right again. And on the second time that I turn to the right, I'm going to actually move it all the way over to, I'm going to actually run across the bottom bridge. And since the second time that you turned it to the right, you should have a little bit of delay before it starts moving. And so during that delay, you are able to move all the way to the right and walk across the bottom bridge before the top bridge covers up and kills you. As you see, we got it second try that time. And now, level 5, there is a puzzle here. We don't do it. We can just do that. So yeah, that's pretty much all level 5. No joke, I actually really have forgotten the actual like intended way of solving that puzzle, because we just don't do it. Right here is level 6. It is a cycle-based level, but it's also the first level in which we're introduced to lamps. Lamps are heavy and clunky, as the focus groups called it, and the reason that they are heavy and clunky is because you cannot jump with a lamp in your hand, and you can also, your movement speed decreases ever so slightly if you have an object in your hand. And so for the most part, you want to avoid holding objects as much as you can in this game, and really only do them when absolutely necessary. There are certain scenarios in which that's kind of unavoidable, but for the most part, we have found specific ways of saving time when it comes to holding objects or by doing specific skips, including the skip that I'm going to be doing right now. And this is the first skip that introduces a glitch that we have allowed in this category. First off, we're going to be putting this lamp right here into that vent. It gives us a huge boost of speed upwards, and now we can use that boost of speed upwards and recharge our jump at the top of there and jump over that shadow. So the reason that works is because for whatever reason, when you put a lamp in any slanted object in this game, you can kind of like lodge it into the slanted object. You are able to get like a huge boost of speed upwards when you jump on top of it, and like the physics of the object mess up a lot. And so that's the reason why you're able to like just jump over that shadow at the top of those containers and just move on with the rest of the level. Level 8 itself is not a level that has many skips. It's actually all movement based. This is just one of the levels that is the intended movement but fast. We have a few of those, but thankfully in the run we actually have a lot of skips that have made a lot of other levels interesting, while also doing it pretty much glitchlessly. And but even through levels like this, where it's mainly just movement based, even if it is just the intended solution, it's incredibly satisfying to do. It is the thing that attracted me to the game initially, and it's something that I highly recommend for people who are looking for a first ever speedrun, or a beginner friendly speedrun, meaning you want to speedrun something new. As I said, it's really beginner friendly, and it's the first speedrun that I actually like really took seriously, just because of how easy it was to get into. So level 9 is a cycle based level. If our movement is good, we should be able to skip half of a cycle right here. We're going to be moving this lamp forward, and yep, we were able to do it fast enough to where we can go to the other side of this mineral decontaminator that's opening and closing before it closes on us. And that is level 9. Level 10 is going to be another pretty interesting level because it introduces one concept that casually you may not have known the first time you played this, or casually you may not have realized when you first played this until like the game was a bit more explicit with its hints, and that is you can actually leave lamps in the dark, because you forget that like the shadows themselves only eat up organic material, meaning like just you, essentially. And whenever you leave that lamp in the dark, you can have it face towards the corner of this platform in order to use it as a bit of a platform to get the other lamp as you move it to the other side of the room. Oh, look at that, a Portal reference. We'd love to see it. Yeah, this game canonically takes place in the Portal universe, as it does reference atmosphere science, and Valve did give their blessing in order to have that in the game, and so it's officially having their seal of approval. I like to come over this area because this is the door that Virgil says you're supposed to go to for safety, and then the bridge collapsed, because why doesn't it? And like you can just walk around here. When you have to die in order to get back to the other side, but it doesn't matter. If you die during cutscenes, it literally doesn't matter. The cutscene just keeps going. But while we're finishing up this cutscene, Ruby, if there's like a small donation that you want to read, or just a quick plug you want to have, you can do it now.
Yeah, sure thing. We don't have any current donations, but I will mention that in one of the upcoming runs, Yakuza Like a Dragon, we have the karaoke Bakamitai, where we actually perform Bakamitai in the game's karaoke bar. We are currently at $100 out of $500 for that donation incentive. Now, that donation incentive doesn't close at the beginning of the run, but it is something that we definitely want to go ahead and get met. So !donate in the chat. If you are able to donate, please consider doing so. Your money is going towards a great cause. Once we have that one locked up, there are also a lot of really interesting donation incentives that we've got. For example, Star Fox 64, we have a donation incentive to remove teammates. So it's a $600 donation incentive, but it's broken up into $200 chunks. So every $200 we remove another one of the teammates from the game. So if you'd like to get rid of it's kind of like a save or kill the animals, because you're removing your teammates and they are animals. So if you want to kill the animals, save the frames, go ahead and get your donations in for that.
Thank you so much for that amazing plug, Ruby. Right here in level 11, it's another cycle-based level. There's not much to say about it, only because you can't really get a fast cycle, as much as it pains me to say. But this next strat that we're going to be seeing in level 12 is actually really interesting, in which we retry checkpoint from checkpoint, and suddenly we're more progressed in the level. The reason that works is because every level has a designated start and stop point for when you reset checkpoints, and the designated start point of this level is actually past cutscene, and so you can just retry level and not have to skip the entire cutscene. And what I did right there was rail grinding, in which it looks a lot easier than it actually is, only because the game is constantly trying to move you off from side to side depending on like what part of the rail that you're on. We're gonna see more of that later. I'll explain a bit more in detail. Right here is Ellen. Say hi to Ellen, everyone. She is the voice of Reason, voiced by Natalie Hitzel, who I have had the opportunity to talk to on multiple occasions. Thank goodness. She's really talented, and again, the story itself and the voice acting is reason enough that I recommend buying this game, even if you're not necessarily interested in it as a speedrun. But right here, when you see these like pinkish reddish rooms that are like that are in these like underground facilities of Lightmatter, that's how you know that you're about to get a bunch of lore drop, because Ellen's about to show up in the form of these like voice tapes. And level 13 was a pretty standard level. It's pretty much the intended solution to this level. And now level 14, we actually do have a specific skip that is very interesting. But we're going to be using these fans in a very interesting way. We're going to be bringing over this light and then having it pointed towards us so that we can come over here. And now we're going to be putting this fan right here, and we're going to be standing in a very specific spot on this fan so that we can actually move with it. You want to be close enough off the fan to where you're actually close enough onto the fan to where you can reach the button, but you still want to be on the fan so you can move with the fan as you push the button. And so if you mess that up, you're just going to get pushed off, and you have to, bring the light back, because you have to be on the same fan blade as the light in order for it to skip to work. And so generally speaking, it saves a good amount of time, but I think it loses time if you mess it up. So thankfully, if it's pretty consistent as long as you get the lineup correct. Level 15, this is the intended solution of the level, and it makes use of the entire cone of light that the lamp has in order to light up both sensors at the same time. There is technically a way for us to speed up this level, but we haven't decided if it's considered a major enough glitch to ban in this particular level, and so that is just something that we haven't quite discussed yet, and so for now we're not going to be doing it. Level 16 is a level that I absolutely adore movement wise, because it's incredibly satisfying to do fast, as is a lot of levels during this mid-game section. And we're actually going to be doing a specific skip here in which we were going to make use of the fact that the lamp actually just snaps in front of you. You don't have to turn it, and so the light just kind of appears in front of you the moment they pick up the lamp, and so we jump onto the light before the door closes and the shadows kill us. Level 17 is another level that kind of makes use of the entire cone of light produced by the lamp. More specifically, we're going to be using this lamp over here in order to light up both sides of both hallways here, right there. And then when you're moving this lamp forward, you want to make sure that it's pointing towards the sensor the entire time, because otherwise the door behind you will close, and Virgil will laugh at you. And right here, that is the end of level 17. And level 18 and 19 actually have the same skip, but they're used in two different ways. And I'm going to elaborate on that in a bit. But first, I'm going to bring this particular lamp over and have it shine on the sensor so it keeps this door open. And then we're going to be grabbing this lamp, and then we're going to be lining it up with these outlets on the wall, like so. Perfect. And then the lamp produces just enough light on these tables for us to jump across them without dying. You did touch some shadow, but not enough to kill you, and I'll explain a bit more in detail how that works later. But for now, the exact same thing is going to be happening here on these pipes, where we just jump across, and that jump across those pipes to the end of the level actually it's a lot harder than it looks. It's have some pretty precise timing. Thankfully, we were able to get it. And now we're actually doing another skip right here. Make sure that this light is shining onto that sensor first. And then you actually don't have to be on the same level plane or the same plane as a specific lamp in order to grab it. You have to be within grabbing distance of the lamp. And we're going to make use of that by bringing that lamp up with us without having to bring the elevator up and down in order to be on the same height as it. And so that saves a lot of back and forth movement. It's part of the intended solution to the puzzle. And so we don't have to worry about that. And this level 20 is actually a level that introduces strafing with the lamp side to side. It actually has to do it twice, and believe it or not, a lot of people in this when we were playtesting this game didn't realize you had to strafe with the lamp. It's a very hard mechanic to really realize you have to do at first, and so I definitely know that I didn't always realize it when I played this for the first time. But it's an interesting, it's an answer to a solution it's an answer to a puzzle that seems very simple, but also you can't seem to think of it the first time that you do it. Right here, level 21, there's not much to say about it, only because it's pretty much just a transitional level between 20 and 22. But we are going to be coming back to this exact map, but it's going to be labeled as level 23, and we're going to have a very interesting skip there that it's technically a dev intended skip, if you were to describe it as such. Level 22 is the biggest level in the game, with the exception of the last one. And so the last one is just the final level. Obviously it's going to be the biggest, but this particular level is the biggest level with a puzzle in it, and so it's around the halfway point of the game. Kind of appropriate in my opinion. And so we're going to be bringing this lamp here. We want to make sure that this lamp is actually lighting up the majority of this left passageway, because we're going to be coming back to this bottom floor later. And
So,
we're this is a level that like was developed using, oh my god, developed using Legos, from like a top-down perspective to give the devs a more clear idea of how they want the puzzle to work. The bottom floor is 2 platforms moving side to side, with lamps on each of them. This top floor is 4 platforms going in a floor rotation with 2 lamps on each of them, and so there's similar puzzles but with very different solutions just because of how the platforms work mechanically. We're going to bring this lamp off and have it shine towards us, so we can bring the other lamp towards us without that one moving. Here we go. I'll bring this lamp towards us and then have it shine over here so we can finish the rest too. Right here is going to be another cutscene that we unfortunately can't skip. So Ruby, if you want to say some more words, you can do so right now.
see you on the other side.
Absolutely. I just want to go ahead and mention one of our partners for this event. That is the Yeti. So Power Up with Pride is partnered with the Yeti to bring you shirts based on various runs throughout the event. These awesome designs will only be around as long as the marathon is, so make sure you pick them up now. $5 from each shirt goes directly to the Trevor Project. Visit theyeti.com, that's THEYETEE.com, to check them all out. You can also hit !Yeti in the chat. Looks like some of our wonderful chat mods have already done that for us. Thank you very much. And go ahead and click that link and grab those shirts.
All right, thank you so much, Ruby. Now we are talking to Ellen again. As you see, we're in this pinkish area, so of course we're going to be seeing her. There was a lore update in which Virgil's partner, Arthur, was trying to sabotage the plans for Lightmatter that Virgil had created. And so that is a small little lore update for you. The lore and the script is incredibly good, so I highly recommend picking the game up for that reason as well. But right here we're going to be actually doing the solution for the bottom floor of level 22 backwards, as we are going to be going back to the small hub over here of level 21, but it's going to be labeled as level 20. And here in level 23 we're actually going to be doing a very interesting skip. We're going to pause, go to extras, developer commentary. We're going to turn that on, grab this file, and then turn the developer commentary back off. The reason that I did that is because there is a line that Virgil says here, and this door that I'm about to go in, that is open right now, it will not open until Virgil is done talking. However, if you pick up the developer's commentary, it interrupts Virgil's lines, and then Virgil will actually never finish the line. And so in order to prevent you just either soft logging or having to sit there for 2 minutes straight waiting for the developer's commentary to end, the developers just decide that if you pick up that developer's commentary file, the door will just open automatically. And so that is a free 20-second skip that the developers have given us. Usually, for really optimal times, we would have developers commentary on from the very beginning of the run so that we can just pick up the file and then not have to unpause or pause and unpause. And so a bit more time saved from the very beginning of the run. And so that is just something that we're going to be doing. But for marathon purposes, I do like showing off specific lines of David Bateson and Natalie Hitzel in their voice acting because it's amazing. And so just for a better viewer experience, I suppose, I would like to use the voice acting. But right here, level 24, we're introduced to photon crystals or orbs, depending on who you ask. And these specific photon crystals have beams of light matter shooting off of them, and as long as one of them is within contact of a mother source, all of them will have these beams of light coming off of them. You can triangulate certain beams of light, and you can make an endless line of light as long as one of the photon crystals is connected to the mother source. And you can see that when these lines of light turn like pinkish or red, that means the connection between two orbs or an orb and a mother source is actually going to break. And like right here, this connection is about to break because there's like a pipe in front of it. But really, in these next few levels, we're going to be pushing the limits as to how far these connections can go without breaking. And by being really risky with some of the movement and some of the placements, we're able to save a lot of time with puzzle solving. and you're going to see more examples of that later, but right there was a pretty good example of it. And over here, that is, we're just going to be putting this photon crystal right there, so we can finish up with level 25. And level 26 is actually a really interesting level as well. And I'm actually going to explain something a little bit more in detail that I didn't explain much earlier. But first, we're going to be coming down here, and we're going to be bringing this platform about halfway through this line for pushing it back. And we're going to jump on here so it doesn't have to come all the way. This is a first example of a moving mother source. This mother source will move back and forth depending on the buttons you press here. And I'm actually going to be putting this photon crystal right here, and I'm going to be rubbing up against this fence right here so that this photon crystal contacts with the mother source over there. And whoa, I'm rail grinding on a fence right here, but this handrail just has shadow on it. Why didn't you die? The reason that I didn't die is because in this game, when there are a series of points around the player's feet, that the majority of the points have to be covered in shadow in order for the game to kill you. And for whatever reason, on that specific handrail in the game, there's not enough points around your feet that are covered in order for the game to kill you, which is interesting because usually in any other handrail that's covered in shadow, the game would in fact kill you. But it's that specific one that doesn't. Right here, we're going to do what we call an auto walker, only because this is just the intended solution, but fast. It looks like I'm going in circles, and that's because I am, because that's part of the solution to this game. It's slightly different each time, but of course I know what I'm doing and I know the solutions, and so it kind of looks a bit easier than it is. But you also want to make sure that with this photon crystal that you're holding is always connected to at least one of these other light sources, either the photon crystal or the mother source. It doesn't matter, just make sure that they're always connected to one, so that when you swap over from one connection to another, you're not like in the dark for a few seconds and then die. Now level 28 does have an interesting skip, but first what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be collecting this other photon crystal in this room. I'm moving this platform over so the light can connect to this one, and now I'm going to be collecting this guy over here. And so this specific photon crystal is the most important one. We're going to be placing it right here on the very corner of this platform right here. The closer to the corner you can get, the better. And it doesn't matter where you put this next one, because you're going to be bringing this platform over here, back over, grabbing this photon crystal, and bringing it over to the other side of the room over here. Since we put that photon crystal in the very corner, we actually can put a connection right there, barely have it connect to the other photon crystal, and that allows us to give just enough room to jump over to a little sliver of light and skip a lot of the puzzle solving. And if you had a really keen ear in level 28, you actually heard "I'm Still Alive" from Portal playing in your left earbud or your left headphone. It's very soft, very faint, but you might be able to hear it in the recording, because I know I did. And so level 29, it is a level that we kind of find to be a bit boring, only because you can't really speed it up. This is the intended solution to fast. However, we have found a specific glitch that is interesting to use, but it's actually not full game viable. It is called prop displacement, in which you are able to actually, of course, move these specific props, such as specific platforms. Oh my god, what? So the specific platforms or the lamps in other parts of the level. What is going on here? Okay, thank you. And you can display certain props throughout the level in order to actually like complete the level faster. We also found another glitch called character displacement, in which if you quit to main menu and then immediately press escape again to bring up the options, and then you retry level, you are able to actually start the level from the same position that you're in, but all the props in the game will move back to the original position. And so combine character displacement with like prop displacement, because you can perform both at the same time. You're able to actually finish levels in pretty fast speeds. However, the problem with those two glitches is that it requires you to like quit to main menu and then retry level. And if you do those things in quick succession, the game will actually think that you're in level 1, and so whichever loading zone you come to next, it's gonna wrong warp you to level 2, and so you can't like the full-length run. It's only like viable for ILs because the game gets confused and it's just like you're not supposed to be in this level right now. We're gonna transport you back to to a map at the beginning of the game, and so it just doesn't. It's like not like you literally cannot do anything with it in full game runs. But right here, we're going to make sure that our brain doesn't go on autopilot, and we actually count the amount of times we need to turn this platform, because usually your brain is very easy to go on autopilot and just spam left click in order to press that button a certain amount of times and have this platform go across. And now we are able to go across here and finish up level 30. Other than that, that's pretty much not much to say about level 30. And level 31 is just pretty much a transition level between 30 and 32. This is another level in which the game is going to be like, hey, you're coming to safety, and you're suddenly not, because why else? Why would the game ever give you a happy ending right here? We're going to be jumping up here, pressing this button, and that bridge is going to come over here, and as the game says, we're going to be going over here to safety in that wide open door over there. And there's absolutely zero things that can go wrong in this level or the next. But of course, when this bridge comes over and the door opens, something does have to go terribly wrong, including the bridge just collapsing. The second time that's happened. You're right, Virgil. I really do need to handle bridges with more finesse. How rude of me. So, we'll be jumping down this handrail. And as you can see, I dropped from a pretty high height, and so my character is actually moving slower than normal, as if he's damaged. But we walk it off because at level 22 we just go across and go across and like start walking at regular speed again. We're gonna really be pushing the limits as to how far these connections can go in level 32 by performing a specific skip that's very interesting. We're gonna be placing that orb right here, bringing that orb over here, and having characters with it on the other side. I'm gonna be doing a slightly safer version of the strat, and quite clearly, I couldn't even perform it. There we go. We're gonna try that again. Connect with this on the other side. Bring this guy forward. Perfect. Going to make this connection a bit more straight down this line in order to make it a bit more safe and not have to die again. Level 33 is another really good example of rail grinding. If I can get it right, you can actually see if you rail grind off of a moving platform, you can actually maintain some of the momentum that you get from the moving platform. If you do it right and you balance on it pretty much the entire time. But that is the main strat about level 33. We're going to be bringing this orb around here and moving it forward across that line in order to touch the sensor and open up this door right here. There's a bit more of a lore update, I will say. So we're going to be overloading the core right here in the lore. There's a huge photosensitivity warning. The entire screen is going to turn bright and be covered in white light. And so if you are photosensitive, or if you are in a dark room in the middle of the night, and you should probably turn your brightness down, be warned of that. Look away, do what you need to do. I'll tell you when it's good to come back. But for now, Ruby, if you want to say anything, you have like 30 seconds or so, 30 to 40 seconds to say something.
All right, then I'll just tell you a little bit about the Trevor Project really quick while we've got some time. The Trevor Project is the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at www.thetrevorproject.org to access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate.
You are currently quadrupling that power.
Right. That's the flash of light that I told you about. And
I should have listened to your warning, Ozmourn.
yeah. Oh, you can look back now. So here, after we overloaded the core, suddenly we realized that shadows aren't as scary as you think they are. These specific shadows are fine. It's just that the shadows that look like shiny and like tar-like material, as the game describes it, those are the ones that will kill you, including the ones right here. So you can see a stark difference between all of them. And so that kind of foreshadows the thing that we need to be doing in the final level. But right here, we're going to be going straight into level 35, in which we're going to be bringing this orb right here, and then open this door with another sensor, by touching the sensor with another orb right over here. And there's actually one more portal reference that I'm going to be pointing out in this particular level. If you look in this room and look to the left of your screen right now, you can see how there was a turret and a weighted storage cube from Portal in that weighted storage cube from Portal in that room. It is not a companion cube because it's not a heart and it's not pink. It's a weighted storage cube. Shout out to Rebel Rose for always correcting me on that. And so right here is another level that's mainly the intended movement but fast. It looks like I'm going a lot of back and forth. That's because I really am. That's just part of the intended solution of it all. Make sure that each of these photon crystals are always connected to something at any given time. There is a specific skip that I can do in level 36 that I'm actually going to try and opt for. It's pretty inconsistent, but I'm going to be bringing this light over here. It is level 36 skip, and I've only been able to do it a few times before. Only 5 people have ever been able to get it, and it's pretty simple. In theory, you can just go across here, grind across this rail, and oh my god, I did it first try. Oh, what? That is a lot harder than it looks. So the game pushed me onto this platform despite the fact that I had a lamp in my hand. 95% of the time what just happened doesn't usually happen, and it's surprising that it did. So take that how you will. So that saved like 30 seconds just from that. And right here we're going to be going straight into level 37, piano keys. Shout out to Rebel Rose. This is her favorite puzzle because there's a lot of different ways to do it, but believe it or not, the way that we're doing it is actually not part of the intended solutions of doing it. And so level 37, we're going to be taking this lamp and we're going to be shining it onto this sensor over here so that this bridge stays on the left side. Taking this orb, and we're actually going to be putting it here and make sure that connection between these two orbs are pink, not red, not white, but pink. We place the first orb in a pretty specific location to make sure that would work most of the time. We're going to be bringing this lamp all the way across here and then shining it over there, moving and making sure that the sensor right here is not turned on, so that the bridge stays underneath our feet. And we're going to be jumping across and going through here, and that is the end of level 37. Level 38 is actually going to be the final level of this game, and we're going to be doing the same retry skip that we found in level 12, in which we're going to be retrying, and that is going to be skipping a really good portion of this level by skipping a 2-minute cutscene through an elevator. However, unfortunately, we have to sit through another 2-minute cutscene. So Ruby, if you have anything you'd love to say, you have 2 entire minutes to say it.
I have 2 entire minutes to talk?
You do.
Well, it sounds like we really need to get some donations in over this next 2 minutes so that I can read some things. But until then, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about some of our incentives that are coming up. So, as I mentioned previously in the run, we have a Yakuza Like a Dragon donation incentive for doing some karaoke during the run. We are currently at $100 out of $500. Still waiting for confirmation about how late into the run that's going to be closed, but that run is the next, not the next run, but the run after that. The next run is another Ozmourn run. A few hours later, we've got Star Fox 64, where we are going to remove the teammates if we get those donations in. So this is a $600 incentive that is broken up into $200 chunks. So for every $200, we will remove one of the 3 teammates until they're no longer in the game. This is basically a Star Fox 64 version of Save or Kill the Animals.
All right, you still have like 40 seconds.
All right. So in Haven, which is coming up a little bit after that, we are going to have an option to choose the couple. So we can either choose male K and male U, or female K and female U. Currently, female K and female U are in the lead with $25 to male K and male U's 0. So either way, we're going to get some awesome queer representation in that run. But if you want to sway how that donation incentive at Bid War is going, go ahead and hit !donate in the chat.
All right, perfect. We hit the lever. We're overloading the core. Every time that I pull one of these levers, I will say photosensitivity warning. There's going to be a flash of light in the general direction of this giant crystal. And so just be warned of that. I will do it multiple times, and I will mention it throughout multiple times throughout the run. But right now, we are finally past this cutscene, and we can go into level 38. Level 38 is a really cool level, only because it is pretty much all based on like cycles, and it is a giant escape sequence. There's actually no puzzle solving in this last level. It's all a giant escape sequence, and we got the first fast cycle here, thankfully. And so this is actually also a level that does not load. This is the only level that doesn't load in all at once. It loads in chunks. And so just because you get one fast cycle does not necessarily mean you're going to get the next one. But just because you failed one fast cycle does not necessarily mean that you're going to fail the next one. It's all dependent on when you get into the chunk and how your movement is once you enter each part of the level that loads in. For example, right here, we should be able to get this fast cycle over here since we were pretty with our movement, as so. And right now the cameras are off. Virgil doesn't really know what we're doing. We had a little talk with Ellen, and when she told us the plan, and that's what we're gonna be doing, pretty much overloading each and every part of the core. This particular fast cycle is difficult. Let's see if we can get it. That should be good. Perfect. All right, amazing. And so we should be able to get a fast cycle here, even though it doesn't really save that much time. It just looks cool. And so far so good. And that's the last main cycle of this section. And we're going to go into another chunk, and we're actually going to be pulling a lever and overloading the core again. So again, another photosensitivity warning. A small flash of white light is going to be made. I didn't pull that lever as quickly as I would have liked, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this next fast cycle, because the cycle for the next section actually opens up the moment that you get into this the moment that you get into this section.
No! How did you? Oh, you vermin!
And okay, we still managed to get the fast cycle, thankfully. That's pretty good. Even if you die, the cycles for each of the objects just keep going, and so you don't necessarily have to start over or wait longer than you would. Missing the fast cycle versus dying is pretty similar time loss. It doesn't really matter if you end up missing it or not, so long as if you're missing it versus just dying. And now our identity has changed again. We're a spy. We don't really ever answer the question of who we are in this game. At first we were a health inspector, and then a tourist, and then Virgil's assistant. At some point I think we were also a journalist, and so it's really inconsistent who we are. Our identity changes every few minutes, but right here in this next room, it's actually going to have a very interesting skip, and taking advantage of a specific oversight of the game. And this is found by Glitch Hunter Rockcore. Shout out to him. He somehow manages to find something every few months. And right here, yeah, I was able to jump across those pipes that had shadows on them, but for whatever reason, there's just no kill plane there, even though there probably should be. And I was able to jump across those pipes and make it to the other end of the room. And I am going to say major photosensitivity warning right now. I'm going to be looking straight at the giant flash of light that's going to be appearing on the screen right now. And so it's going to be pretty bright for the next few seconds. Like it's still gonna be pretty bright in this room. It's very bright in this room. So
Not so fast.
this section is complete. All right, we can look back now. And for the most part, Virgil is actively trying to kill us right now, because he finally figured out what we're doing, and he's very passionate about the way that he's going to kill us with shadows. So he's going to go on a very long monologue about the way that we're going to be dying. It's concerning for his health, really, but it does make for compelling dialogue. We're going to be doing a small skip right there by skipping some platforming. And now we're going to be doing a few more cycles that we're going to be doing towards the end of this game. And like so, jumping across there. I will suffer and beg. My goodness, you're very passionate about this subject, Virgil. And funny story, the voice actor was like incredibly out of breath during this final section. It was like the last thing that he did during one of his recording sessions, and he was like just incredibly out of breath, just screaming about how the shadows are going to kill us. It's incredibly it's like kind of funny if you think about it in retrospect. But right here, we are going to be doing one last cycle, and thankfully there was a fast cycle there that was proven to actually not be very fast, only because it was incredibly inconsistent and hard to do. But thankfully we actually don't need to worry about it. We're gonna do 2 more cycles here, right over here, and one last cycle before finishing the game. There we go, perfect. And now we can just enjoy this ride until the end. We're gonna be about like a minute off PB, and that's actually really good. Probably one of the faster marathon runs that I've done, especially since we got level 36 skip. That's probably where a lot of the time save came from. But overall, James, the mountain of a man himself, is going to come and sabotage our plan, except he won't. He's actually going to be sabotaging Virgil's plan, because he finally breaks free from the grips of Virgil and has a mind for himself. And so that is Lightmatter, any percent, no major glitches. This is the end of the run. Shout out, I like to shout out pretty much everyone in the community: Rebel Rose, Arrow, Legos VK, Bobby Berm, Snowy Moogle, Ralcor, the devs and television games. Amazing game, amazing speedrun. I highly recommend it. And timing will end when I pull this lever. So 3, 2, 1, time. 45:31 IG. Oh, that was a really good run. Again, probably one of the faster runs that I've had with this game in a marathon. So really recommend picking this game up. It is a wonderful puzzle game. Another photosensitivity warning here, I apologize, but I highly recommend this game. It is really good, really fun to run, very beginner friendly. It's all skill, there's no RNG elements on it, and I can't overstate how much I love this game. It's a great game for speed running or just for casual play. If you're really into like just indie devs and puzzle games and want to support smaller creators in the gaming industry, Television Games is a really good studio, and they made a great game. And so yeah, that is Lightmatter, any percent, no major glitches. Hope you enjoy. You can actually access the Discord right here from the game itself, or you can just look us up on speedrun.com. Join us. We're a very small community who has shared like a Discord with like, it's part of the developers Discord. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna be right back with Liminal Ranger, and don't go anywhere. I have one more run for y'all. Thank you so much for having me.
Lightmatter had issues.
All right. Thank you again, Ozmourn, for that incredible Lightmatter run. Before I go to help get everything set up for the next run, I just wanted to shout out, we've got an anonymous $100 donation with no comment. That is perfectly okay. The money still goes to the Trevor Project. Thank you so much for your generosity. With that, we now have $200 towards the $500 donation incentive to sing karaoke during the Yakuza Like a Dragon run. So we are, if I can do math at this early in the morning, 2/5 of the way there. You know, we've been doing a lot of talking about donating to the Trevor Project, and we understand while donations are always appreciated, sometimes it's not necessarily the way that you personally would be able to help. I understand money can be tight. How are other ways that you can get involved with the Trevor Project? Well, there's a wide range of ways to volunteer with the Trevor Project across the country. If you're interested in becoming a crisis counselor to support LGBTQ young people through their text or chat services, or helping with their advocacy work in your home state, visit them at www.thetrevorproject.org/get-involved. If you live in New York City or Los Angeles, you can also sign up to be trained as a crisis counselor on Trevor Lifeline, their 24/7 phone line for young people in crisis. You can also support their work, obviously, by donating at www.thetrevorproject.org/donate.